Medellin, Colombia, is it safe or is it all a hype, the danger that you keep hearing? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you my personal story. This is my Colombian story, and this is after living in Colombia for 3 years. And so let's get into it. Hey, Jason here. If you've been watching me, you now see me traveling across Africa. I'm now settled in Zambia, where I now have full residency. And most importantly, you've been seeing me talk about the 3 areas of life that I focus on, which is happiness, health, and wealth. And so let's go ahead and get into today's topic, my Colombian story. Now, if you've been anywhere on the internet or if you're someone who's a traveler, you may have been seeing all of these stories of all this doom and gloom that's going on in Medellin, Colombia, whether if it's from drugging with scopamine, people being unalive, or people being taken by gunpoint and things like this. And so I felt like now more than ever is my time to share my Colombian story. And so I moved to Colombia back in 2019. I moved there, I think it was February 2019, if I remember correctly, or June, somewhere around there. And I stayed there up until 2022. Now, I come from a very unique perspective on my Colombian story than what you may hear from others. I was not there as a single guy. I went there married. I actually was married up until January 2022, and that's when my wife unexpectedly passed away from what the doctor said was a heart attack. And so, with that perspective, you may be thinking like, Jason, all these stories I'm hearing, like, why would you take your wife to Colombia? And here's the reason why. Colombia is not this doom and gloom place. It's not this place where people are just going to come after you and try to harm you just because you're a tourist or an expat or a foreigner. A lot of these stories that you keep seeing on the internet, if you really, really listen to them and dissect them, you hear a bunch of common themes. One, a lot of these people are using dating sites such as Tinder, things like that. Two, there are a lot of either alcohol-related incidents. There's a heavy intoxication involved in it, or some form of drug use involved in it. And the reason why I want to do this video is I want you to hear from the perspective of someone who didn't get tortured, who didn't get drugged, who didn't have any guns pointed on him ever. I had a very pleasant experience in Colombia up until the passing of my wife. And I wanted to share this also because these stories now from these select few individuals, they're giving Colombia, especially places like Medellin, a bad spotlight. And it's one of the most beautiful cities that you can probably ever go to in the world. Very nature friendly, loving, loving people. If you've never met a paisa, which is what they call the people from Medellin, they are loving people. Also, the beautiful thing about Medellin is there's a lot of Venezuelans there. Great group of individuals. I met some of the best friends that I have to this day that I still speak to through social media and WhatsApp. They are from Venezuela. One of the things that a lot of people didn't talk about in their videos when they're talking about the drugging and things like this is they didn't try to assimilate with Colombian culture. One of the things I actually improved on my Spanish there, I would say I had about a 10% proficiency in the Spanish, and I went up to about 70% over the 3 years of living there. I would walk around different barrios. I would go to different areas. I had lunch and dinner with people. People would cook for me. People would show me around places. Colombia was a beautiful place for me. And so I needed to do this video because there need to be someone that is actually speaking good about Colombia. So this is my personal story. One of the things that I loved about Colombia was it was a very family-friendly place. And what I mean by that was it was always activities, things to do in the daytime, especially if you had a wife like I did, or if you have children. There's a bunch of nature parks that are going up to Parque Abri, AVRI. Beautiful place, taking the cable cars up there. And then you're just walking up there through some of the trails. It was amazing. One of the last things that my wife and I that we did together there, we went to the actual natural museum there where they have the dinosaur statues and all the different things like that. It has the botanical gardens. All of these things were beautiful, amazing, family friendly things to do. And I enjoyed them. Not only did I enjoy them as a tourist, but you got to meet locals doing these things too. It was regular Colombian people that lived there, regular paisas doing these things also. And they were always friendly, one to get to know you, one to help you if you're confused or anything. Like, such an amazing place. One of the other things that I loved about Colombia is the food there. They cater to whatever your dietary needs are. Me, as someone who's plant based, but when I'm moving around, I'm vegan. There were vegan restaurants. Have to this day, the best vegan sushi that I have had in the world came from Medellin, Colombia, from the vegan sushi place out there. They also had other vegan and vegetarian specific restaurants out there. Um, my last year there, I was getting meals delivered to me for lunch from an actual vegan restaurant. And they was bringing those each and every day, and that was amazing. The hospitality there was such a wonderful thing there. The kindness, the love, and you don't have to be proficient in Spanish there. So many people think like, oh, I got to know all this Spanish. You don't have to be a fluent Spanish speaker. Like I say, even though I was 70% speaking Spanish, like I understood more than I could actually communicate. So I communicated in very small chunks of sentences, and it went a long way there. And it's because of how loving the people are. Now I lived in different areas. I lived in Stratus 3 all the way up to Stratus 6. By the time I was leaving there, and I lived in different communities. So I've been to Envigado. I lived in Itagüí. I lived in Baylin. I lived in Robledo. I did in La Castellana, and out there by Parque J, not Parque J, by Laureles. All of the different areas. So I got to see a really good part. And in the end, I stayed around Poblado. I got to see a really good mix of the city and got to see how the different people are around the city. And it was an amazing experience. One of my, even to this day, one of the things that I miss most about Colombia, specifically Medellin, is doing the Christmas light tours. Christmas in Medellin is magical. It's beautiful. They have lights, parks lit up. You can go on the little, I can't remember the name of the buses. If you remember the buses, put it in the comment. The name of the colorful buses. And they have music playing. They have a tour guide telling you about the different stuff. If you drink, they have drinks for you. Even though I didn't drink, no one didn't give me a hard time. And it was a beautiful thing. And I think at that time, when the last Christmas tour we went on, I think we paid about $20 for both people. And it was supposed to be like 2 hours. It turned out to be like a 6 hour experience. And we ended up getting sleepy. And we was like, hey, we got to go. And the party kept going. And it was such amazing people. But they made sure to drop us off in a park. They didn't leave until they saw us getting into a taxi, knowing that we was going home safely. Like, this is the paisa. This is that love, that culture about Medellin, Colombia that I love. And I feel bad because a lot of people, and I don't want to say they're not going there with good intentions. However, they're going there with specific reasons. And you can't blame the society as a whole of Colombia when you're going for these side adventures there. And these are people who are most likely, and from a lot of the stories that I've seen, they're not assimilating to the culture. So, like anywhere in the world, like even different parts of the United States, if you don't assimilate to the natural culture there of the region and the city that you're in, you're putting yourself in danger. And this is something that needs to be spoken about. We can't just keep putting these blanket warnings. Oh, stay away from this area. Stay away from this area. It's like maybe if you're coming with the wrong intentions, you should stay away from these areas. But if you're coming to a place to just assimilate, to learn Spanish, to get to know the culture of the país, to try out the food, to see what that love of Colombia is, then you're going to have a great time there. And one of the things that people are not talking about, there's expats to this day that still live there. I still have friends from America that are living in Medellin, Colombia, and they're not having issues. They're having a great time there. And like, if you are looking to actually go to Medellin, Colombia, and you're wanting to like see how to find these communities, there's expats communities there. Look into Sweet Georgia Cafe. Follow on YouTube a buddy of mine, DC Born Rob. DC Born Rob, amazing individual. Me and this brother met when we both moved to Colombia on the first time. We hit it off great. He was a great guy. You could tell he was about his business. He was someone that wasn't out here just getting into trouble. And he has a whole YouTube channel out here just trying to help people to avoid certain things so they don't get in trouble. He's trying to show you that you can go to Colombia and have a safe time there. You can have a great vacation there. All you have to do is leave some of that nonsense behind. Like maybe don't get drunk. And really think about this. How many times do you get pissy drunk in your own country? How many times do you get pissy drunk in a nightclub in the United States? The moment you do that, the odds of something bad happening is escalating higher, higher, and higher. And we have to understand nothing is different about this world. Uh, Somebody is going to always take advantage of an easy target. And that's sad to say, but it's the world that we live in. And, you know, just meeting people like DC Born Rock, the mission statement he has to help people to be able to travel safely. Meeting other people. I'm trying to make sure not to give people names out, especially if they're not on YouTube or anything like that. But make sure you check out DC Born Rob's YouTube channel. Great guy. He's giving great information, and he travels not only to Colombia but to other places like Guatemala. I think he went to Cuba, and he's been to parts of Mexico, if I remember correctly. And not only people like him, but I met tons and tons of people that I still talk to today. And I met them in Medellin, Colombia. And this is the type of information I think needs to get out here too. Because a lot of times, those of us who are not into the craziness and the scenes like that, we kind of just stay quiet and stay to the backside. However, I'm seeing so many videos now that are really bad talking Colombia. And I feel like Colombia isn't the problem. It's time that we start taking self accountability because there's still individuals living there to this day. Even though I left and I'm in Africa now, they are still in Colombia and they're still living a safe life. They're living the time of their life. They're enjoying their life. They're having fun. They're having a blast each and every day. They're going on vacations. They're touring the different countrysides of Colombia, going to different places. And you can do that also. You can have a safe, fun adventure in Colombia or live the rest of your life retired there without having issues. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I love Colombia. Colombia is a very special place to my heart. I miss my Paisa family. I miss my Venezuelan family. And I have nothing but love for Colombia in my heart. When I went through the tough time of my wife passing suddenly in the middle of the night, it was not only my Venezuelan friends, but it was Colombian people that were helping me. They came by my side and made sure that I was okay. They showed me love. They showed me support. They showed me that I was a part of their family. And that is something I will always remember until I take my last breath on this earth. And so Colombia is one of those places that I'm going to fight hard for. And I want people to understand, like, it's not just negativity there. It's not just bad people there. There are great, great, great Colombians out there. There are great people in Colombia, great people out there. And to this day, I still consider most of them my friends, my family, and people that I love. And I just want to share that with you. And so this is just a really quick snippet of my Colombian story. If you want to hear more details, like things that maybe I did there, let me know in the comments. Also, if you want to know more about some of my travels here in Africa, let me know in the comments and I'll start sharing those things with you. And then make sure you follow me on TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, go to Jason Cheney 777. And if you want to see some of my live streams where I'm walking around or driving around throughout Zambia, follow me on Kick. It's a streaming site, KICK.com. And it's Jason Cheney 777. You can follow me there throughout all of my social media channels. And just remember, enjoy life. Have fun with life. Don't put yourself in situations that you may live or regret. Life is very short. And just there's a lot of beauty in this world. There's a lot of great people in this world. Don't just listen to the gloom and doom and let people who may have ulterior motives when they're going to different countries to deter you from living the best part of your life. Because I can tell you right now, the 3 years that I spent in Colombia, I would never take them back for anything in the world. And just with that, thank you. And just remember this: success is simple once you know how.